and welcome to Mongrels Garage, and today we're doing something, well, a little bit simpler. We're just going back to basics, and it might be a little bit too basic for some of you. We're going to walk you through an oil change on our 2011 Dodge Charger and some of the other things that I do while doing the oil change. Now there might be some tips and trips. Yeah, there might be some of those too, but there might be some tips and tricks out there that some of you don't know, but this is just to give someone that's just getting started in wrenching an idea of the basics. So let's get into it.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me.
Now the first tip I have for you is, well, wash the car. But not just the outside. Wash under the hood too. And see, we got everything fairly clean. What this does, it helps keep dust and dirt out of your oil system. It lets you see leaks or stuff like that. So keep your car clean under the hood as best you can. Now I know I do happen to have a leak. I've got a radiator leak, or at least a coolant leak. We're not sure if it's the rad yet or not. Pretty sure it is. So we'll be looking at that today too. And that's where we're going to start, is by just changing the oil, looking for the rad leak or the coolant leak, and checking a few other things. Now, if you have a lift like I do today, great, that's fantastic, but you can still do all this with a jack and some jack stands. So I'm gonna get this up in the air a little bit, and I'm gonna show you the first tip. Okay, I gotta lift it to the point where all four tires have just come off the ground. And then I'm going to do the bounce test. And I'm going to make sure the hood is at least partially closed for this, because I don't want it coming down on my fingers. But I'm going to grab the car and I'm going to give it a shake. And the intention of this is to make sure it's stable on the lift, because if it falls off, we want it to fall off here, not when it's up there. Okay, now I can open the hood and then carry on. And we'll bring it the rest of the way up. And I'm going to stop it there, because right about now, so I'm going to go get my gloves on. I'm going to grab my front wheels and give them a shake. Make sure my wheel bearings are decent, stuff like that. Going to go side to side like this, quick little rapid movements. And I'm looking for any clunky movement in there, which tells me maybe a tie rod or something like that might be going out. Grab the bottom and push on the top. Do the same thing. And that's nice and tight, so I'm not too worried about the suspension. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm not feeling any looseness in there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wheels off, because I want to do a tire rotation. And on this car, it's just a basic X pattern. Front passenger side, move it to the driver's side rear. Take the driver's side rear, move it up here, and then vice versa on the other side. So passenger side back goes to the front driver's side goes to the back. Let's get on to doing that. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a close look at my tires, make sure there's no funny wear, check out how much wear is left on them. There's my wear bar there. These are in pretty good shape still. They're relatively new. There's no funny feathering. There's no cupping. I run my hand cupping, the tire goes like that. Now the reason we do an X rotation on this car is the tires are all the same size and they're not directional. And what does directional mean? Well, it means they have some channeling to channel water away from the center of the tire, so you maintain traction in wet conditions. Now this still does have some channeling. It's got siping, which are these little marks here. Those are fingers for grabbing ice and stuff like that. It's got the blocking for helping mud and snow, and these are mud and snow rated. But how can you tell if your tires are directional or not? Well, normally if you look at the sidewall, you'll find an arrow on the side and say rotation or directional rotation. These don't have that, so we're fine to do an X pattern. If you have directional tires, then you are limited to a same side rotation front back. That's all you can do. You can move back to the front, front to the back. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at the brakes, because we got our tires and wheels off. Now's a good time to take a look and see what
type of shape they're in.
Okay, if you're lucky, your brake calipers will have a window right around here so you can check your pads. Well, we don't have that, so we're gonna have to do it a little bit a different way, but we're gonna come over to our rotors. These are a little bit glazed, but there's no heavy scoring or tracks on either side. We're still pretty good. And then we're gonna look down in there. We can see our brake pad. I would say that's 30% left, somewhere around there. Don't just check the outside pad though. We want to move in and check the inside one as well. Well, you can see the squealer there. Still a fair ways off of that. Of course, I can't see very good with my glasses on. I have to take them off. But it looks like, yeah, both are pretty even, so we don't have a stuck caliper or anything like that. So this one's looking pretty good. Back brakes, you can see that window I was talking about, and you can look right in there and check out your pad thickness. And it's got those nice wear indicators built right into the pads. Or you can just do it the same way as we did the other one and come up top and have a look at it and see how much pad you got left. And we're gonna move on to the next step. Now's a good time to get in here. And if you have any greasable ball joints, like I don't, but if you had a greasable tie rod or ball joint, now's a good time to do that while the wheel's off. Check your sway bar links here. See how much play are in those. Just kind of grab them, give them a shake, see how easy they twist. That's pretty tight. Check your brake lines, it's always important. Right here, make sure everything's still nice and good. Good time to check your CV boots, both sides. Check all that stuff out. Check your shocks, make sure they're not leaking. Check your struts, all that good stuff. So we're gonna do all that, take a look at all that. The tire's back on, we just put them on with the gun for now, but we're not gonna rely on just the gun. That is a very bad idea. Once we get the car back on the ground, we're going to get a torque wrench and we're going to torque these to proper torque. Put it down on the locks. Okay, we're under the car right now. We're looking at our radiator and we can definitely see some antifreeze. Especially if you look right up in here, you can see some antifreeze right there. So anyway, I see some antifreeze dripping right there. So we're definitely going to say that this is the rad that's leaking. So I'll get a radiator on order. There's not really much else where that would be leaking from when it's coming from on this side. It's spraying up top someplace, working its way down. Well, it sucks, but it is what it is. It's not too bad for a rad in these. You know what we got to do now. I just wanted to check the drain, make sure it was definitely closed. It is. So we'll be ordering up a radiator for this. Now I have found that most of these Hemis are a 13 mil drain plug. Well, the head's 13 mil. Now it's always a good idea to do your oil changes hot. It helps get all the contaminants out of the oil pan. Takes out all the yucky stuff with it type thing. Now most drain plugs are magnetic and you can check them for any fuzz. Nothing on this one. While our oil's draining, we're going to get started on the oil filter. Tucked up right here on the passenger side. Cracked loose. Now the reason I was able to crack it loose with my hand, because I do the oil changes on this and I don't over torque my oil filters. So it's a lot easier. You might want to keep moving your oil drain pan back once in a while. I don't want to spin my filter off yet because it'll start draining. And what we can do, finish your greasing and lube and all that. You can come over here, continue greasing everything, lubing everything, checking your ball joints. And then we can also go into the transfer case, which is right here, because this is all-wheel drive. And you can check that out, but I just serviced that not that long ago, so I know it's good. And now one other thing I want to check while I'm under here is I've been noticing some clunking and some vibrations and stuff. So I want to take a look at my U-joints on my drive shaft. I can see here that this is looking pretty dirty. I don't know if that slip joint is working, but we're going to give it a turn and see how, oh, there's a lot of sloth in that. There's a good chance our diff is getting worn out in the front here. This is a high mileage car. That is a lot of slop. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to look into that. I've got some vertical movement in this. I don't think it should have that, so I'm not sure what's going on. I'm gonna have to look into that. It's not the U-joints, those are tight. What's that? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to look at that because it's got some odd movement in that shaft. I've got all this slop up front here in the diff itself. One thing I do want to check is I want to check the front and rear diffs though. We don't have any grease coming out of our boots. There doesn't seem to be any rips or tears. And we don't have any oil weeping out of the axle here. On this diff, here's your drain plug on the passenger side. There's your fuel plug on the driver's side. And we'll pop that out, take a look. Hey, in case you're wondering what size Allen key this is, it's 14 mil, folks. Well, I'd say that's full. We're dripping out of there, so it's definitely full. Now make sure it's level when you're checking that. We'll do the same thing up with the front one. We'll go pull the plug off and make sure it's nice and full. It should just kind of drip out of there, just like we just did back here. Okay, that's all tightened back up. Let's move up to the front. We'll go take our oil filter off right now too. And on the front diff, let's come up here. On the passenger side, the diff itself is bolted right to the side of the oil pan right here. See your differential and the plug. Now you can get to it right there. That's through the wheel well here. You can see we got our oil filter off, and one of the things you want to check is make sure that old O-ring for the filter is not on there, which ours isn't. We're good. So we're gonna go get our new filter over here. Get some synthetic oil, 5W20, our Napa Gold, basically a Wix filter. So we're gonna get all that ready to go and get it in the car. We're gonna take the plastic off, turn the filter up, we'll fill it full of some oil, and we're gonna get our new filter up there. I did lube the gasket, I always do. There you go, it should spin on nice and easy. I had a little cross thread, so just make sure you don't do that. There, I've made contact. As soon as it makes contact, you want to get about a 3/4 to a full turn more if you can. There, that's it. Now I should still be able to get that off by my hand next time I have to change the oil. And as another YouTuber likes to do, it's not a bad idea to write the mileage and the date on here of when you change the oil. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Yeah, I only let it down to just the point where the tires are touching because I want to still torque those wheels, and I don't want all the weight on the car when I do it, but I want enough there that it'll keep the wheel from turning on me. Let's get some oil back in this. It's always a good idea to have a funnel. Now you can see right there that's marked 5W20, and if you don't know what type of oil or your cap's not marked, you can usually find it. That's your owner's manual right there, or go online or something like that. So the newer Hemis, I think they've switched to 020, but I still use 520. I haven't had any issues. I know from experience that this takes nearly 7 liters of oil, so we're just gonna put this whole 5 liter in there, dump another liter in, then we'll run it, we'll check it, check for leaks, stuff like that. There we go, yeah. Oh, look at that, made in Canada even. Ooh, I bought it because it was, well, the price was good. That's why I bought it. And it is synthetic still, so. All right, let's stir it up. Okay, we'll let that sit for a minute. In the meantime, I'll top up the coolant because we know that's low. Check our windshield washer, check out your air filter, see how it's doing, see how my pouring skills are today. And we're gonna fill that right up because we know it's gonna empty out. I'll get a replacement radiator. In case you're wondering how long it should take to do all this, well, we're coming up on about the 1 hour mark. Also bear in mind that I've been filming and setting up for shots and everything, so you should be able to get it, all the oil change stuff done in about 1.5 hours, 2 hours, start to finish. Of course, I've got the lift, so it makes it a little faster, a little easier. You still see a lot of light through it, so we're doing pretty good. Next time, I think we'll change the air filter out. We should be in pretty good shape to check our oil level. Give it a little twist. Sometimes they stick. You try to just yank it off. You can break the handle off sometimes. I don't even look at it. First pull, wipe it off, put it back in. Oh, look at it. Oh, look at that. It's pretty much right on the full mark. Just a hair more maybe. It's maybe a quarter. Put a splash more in there, we're good. Right on the money. Nice. Make sure you put your oil cap back on. And we're done under the hood. Okay, now for perhaps the hardest part of any modern oil change, figuring out how to reset oil change dew light. On this car and many others, what you do is you put the car in the run position but not start it. You put the car in the run position, you can see we're in run, and you're going to push the pedal 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And that's the gas pedal, and within 10 seconds. And that should reset the light. So let's see if that worked. We're going to turn it back off. Go on to run. See if our oil change dew light comes on. Whoa, look at that. No oil change light. Excellent. So we've successfully reset our light. Now, manufacturers have different ways of doing it, but for the Dodges, it's usually run, press the gas pedal 3 times within 5 or 10 seconds, and then restart the car. And you're good to go. And by the way, if you want to throw it down in the comments on how to do your car, how you reset the oil change light, or if you have any tips or tricks for oil changes, go ahead, throw them in there. Love to hear from you. We're torquing these. All right, there we go. We did it in a star pattern. Turn our torque wrench to its lowest setting and not past that point. There we go, lowest setting. If you don't mind giving us a thumbs up right about now, that would be awesome, greatly appreciated. And so there you go, there's the basic rundowns on some very simple basic maintenance. Shouldn't take you very long, an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending, like if you have a truck or something like that. You know, obviously I found a couple of things that I have to deal with, but for the most part, I've got relative peace of mind and can continue driving the car and address those other issues that we found. If I address them now, before they get worse, it saves me a lot of money in the long run. So I'd like to thank you all for watching. Have an awesome day. We'll see you on the next video.